All right, we've got the pen, we've got the notebook, and this is a new YouTube channel, first video in the new YouTube channel, and it's quite different from the channel that I have. And I've been wanting to create this channel for a very long time. But there was a fear of either being misunderstood or potentially people not resonating with that. But ultimately, I've decided that we'll only live once. And so I will share my journey of going from being a tomboy to becoming a quite a feminine woman in my definition. And I want to share that experience with you who's watching this and someone who maybe like me struggles and feeling like you don't really sort of belong in that femininity tribe, but you still want to tap into your feminine power and becoming, the feminine woman, whatever that means to you. So I have my notes where it's going to help me to sort of guide me a little bit in terms of the direction with my yapping, pretty much. And so my journey began in, by the way, I'm Lana Soa, and my journey began in 2022 or 2023, where I had quite difficult part of my life, but I felt extremely lost when it comes to identifying and just even understanding who I was, because my whole life I've always felt more presence in my masculine energy, and I just didn't feel like I was woman enough, right? Outside of the fact that I'm not married, I don't have kids, not that I've ever thought that, being a mother is like the greatest accomplishment of a woman. Still, I wasn't the typical feminine woman to, in a sense that, you might think about, girly girl or like, whatnot. And so every time I tried this idea of a girly girl, it felt like I was dressing a pig into a costume. And I know how it sounds, but that's exactly how it felt. And I don't know if you may have felt the same way. And so at that point in 2022 to 2023, I felt extremely lost. And I also, on top of everything else, a close friend of mine passed away. And so I decided to go to Mexico for the reason that I wanted to be closer to the ocean, because ocean always helps me heal faster. And so there I met a somebody who was dating a shaman, and she offered me to do a session with him. And by session I mean the shroom trip. That wasn't the first shroom trip that I had, but it was my last one. I haven't done anything afterwards because in that moment it felt like it was more than enough. Don't advertise it, don't recommend, whatever, do your research. That being said, that trip showed me that there was a balance between a masculine and a feminine energies within me, and that duality is actually the power. And so that journey helped me, and kind of that trip started my journey. And when I say the definition of the femininity that most people think, or from what I've seen really on the YouTube or like all the gurus, it was kind of the idea of a being the girly girl, which is dressing up and wearing all the flowery dresses and wearing a bunch of makeup and, like stopping and sniffing flowers and just doing the stuff like that, and being a dainty girl, teeny tiny, skinny little thing, and, doing the Pilates, drinking matcha, although I do like matcha. I go to Pura Vida quite often. I love it, but it just wasn't me, and it never felt like me. And so that journey, when I was shown that there is a duality there and that is okay, it is actually quite a powerful thing, that set me off on a journey where I started to learning myself of what I think my definition of a femininity is and how to tap into that. Because growing up in post-Soviet times, seeing my parents, my grandparents, my mom really just survive, which is living in the masculine, I wasn't taught how to be the feminine woman. It was just, you survive. You make sure that you don't die and you have food on your table, and you take care of the family, which is very much a masculine trait, but that's how things were. Didn't question really anything, but it also didn't feel like I wanted to do that, because it just felt like I was pushing and swimming against the stream, and it wasn't fun. Life felt hard and difficult, and to the point where I've struggled with some of the ideation. I'm not going to say anything, but things like that. And so when I started learning about the definition and kind of uncovering my definition, the first thing that you do is always you go to YouTube and you start watching the YouTube videos about how to tap into your feminine and how to become more feminine. And the advice, I don't say it's wrong, but it just never felt like for me, because most of the stuff out there was, I wouldn't say it was completely external, but it was mostly external. It's how you dress, it's how you do the makeup, it's, like you take care of your body, which is not a bad thing. I do think that taking care of your body is definitely helpful, but it wasn't a whole lot of talk about the internal, because I believe that how we feel on the inside showcases on the outside, right? As within, so without, as what is it, below, so above, or is that above, so below, and stuff like that. So I do believe that we create our own reality, and there's more into that. But what I've learned through my journey is that the definition of being a feminine, or what femininity is, can have different layers. It is actually a spectrum, at least the way that I look at it. And I do think that a feminine cannot exist without the masculine. We do need both. And most importantly, and the reason why I want to create this video, is that I think that the missing point for me has always been the idea of being a feminine woman is being different, not only different from other people, but different day to day, hour by hour, minute by minute, and week to week. I mean, we do have cycles, and during those 4 periods of that cycle, we are different women, we're different people, and that is okay. Sometimes we're slightly more masculine, and other times we're more feminine, and that's what makes us women. And of course, the work on the inner stuff, right? How we show up, how we present ourselves, how we speak, how we communicate with people, how people feel around us. I think that's what makes what's the definition of a feminine woman for me. And as a result, then the outside, such as how I dress, whether I wear makeup or not, things like that, that's then sort of encompasses everything. And so, looking at my notes here, I did talk about the journey, about the balance, and what the feminine is. But I think for me, once I realized that the difference, or being different in the sense that today I might be in my masculine, I might be going and, checking off the to-do list, and then tomorrow I just want to dance and just live my life without worry and being in the moment, and then the next week I might be dancing or doing something crazy, and then some other weeks I just want to cook, right? And I think that's what being a feminine is. You're never structured and the same. And I think masculine is more so, there is a structure, and we need masculine because that's how we get shit done. But for women, the most important power of a female is creation. We have not only the ability to create a new human being, but we also have the ability to create a different product. We have the ability to create art, create movies, create songs. We have the ability to create different tribes, different ideas, and create the atmosphere and the vibe and other things, right? So women are very powerful in tapping into your feminine, which means tapping into your creation. And so what I've learned is that the days that I feel the more feminine are the days when I am being in the present, which is quite interesting, right? Because we're always thinking about either the past or the future, right? The anxiety usually happens because we think about the future a lot, or a lot of the times the feelings such as, apathy or maybe like slightly depressed is because we're really sort of stuck in the past. We think about the things that we didn't do and couldn't do or whatever. But I feel more feminine is when I am present, when I'm sitting and slowing down, looking in my balcony, out of my balcony, looking at the ocean, or when I'm hiking and I'm stopping to take a look at the nature around me, when I'm grounding, when I'm walking on the beach or walking on the grass and just being. And I feel the most feminine, and because of that, I believe that every woman can tap into feminine. The more we do that, the more it will uncover. What else did I want to talk about? So the feminine, the feminine. So that is for me the definition of the feminine. But through that, what I also learned is that, again, tapping and going inside, it requires the way that we communicate with people, the way that a feminine woman does. Again, it's knowing when to be playful, when to pull back, when to be more nurturing. And you have to learn those things, right? That's the communication. When we communicate with the masculine, right? Manipulating men and making sure that we use men for the purpose that they're here for, which is helping us, knowing how to tap into that power, that is another skill. And skill of the creation, skill of being in the present, skill of trusting the universe or God, skill of being nurturing. All of those things is what I've been learning in this journey and uncovering, which then helped me realize that it's not just, dressing up, which nowadays, because I started doing all these things, I started learning all the things, started trusting the universe, God, way more. All of a sudden, now I love dresses. Who would have thought? I am in a dress right now and I'm enjoying it. And with learning how to tap into my feminine allowed me to have the glow up, so to speak. And then it was never a goal. I mean, like, this is how I looked before, this is how I look now. It feels like two different people. I have gotten older in this period of time, but it feels like a lot of weight, not only physical weight, but also the heaviness of operating in my masculine and living in my masculine. That was the heavy, what is it called when the fighters wear this thing, like ammunition. It's just kind of like dropped, and because of that, my life feels so much easier right now. I'm in present more. Fears are still there. I don't think that's gonna go away, but am learning how to overcome them. And it's interesting enough, reaching my goals has become much easier when I step back from masculine and stepping into my feminine. And yeah, so if this resonates, I hope it does. I would love to invite you to subscribe, join me here where I will be sharing more about my journey of going from a tomboy to this version of a feminine woman, which I do think is a calm, nurturing, classy lady who does swear quite a lot. Again, balance. And yeah, if that resonates, leave a like, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.